that, Swiss Maverick is back with episode 3, this time the Green Army Showcase, so the independent side, brand new faction in ARMA 3 Beta. As in the previous 2 showcases for the BLUFOR and OPFOR side, I will also introduce you to the new vehicles, aircrafts, the new infantry units, weapons, and then that's about it. Starting off with the CH-49 Mohawk. This is the basic transport chopper and so far the only chopper available for the Green Army. I'd say it's the exact same model as the Merlin in ARMA 2, the one that came with the BAF expansion. Doesn't really matter, I liked it back then and I still like it now. A lot of room in the back for troop transport, so probably the easiest way to bring an entire platoon from one side of the island to the other. Nicely animated 3D cockpit, looks pretty sweet. We have a working multifunctional display. As soon as you turn on the engine you will see those instruments displaying in real time and you will get all the vital information you'll need for flying. As far as I can tell though, those instruments are more eye candy than really necessary. If you have flown in take-on helicopters there it was really important to keep eyes on your instruments. But here, even though we got all this information, the chopper flies pretty much the same as it did in ARMA 2. So even if you overpower your engine or fly faster than the recommended airspeed, the chopper doesn't seem to be taking any damage from this. Track AR support is as it was in all the other choppers, but here you got a little bit of leaning. I do appreciate that because I use track IR, especially in the landing procedure when you pull the nose up a bit to brake. The dashboard will block your view and by leaning to the side you can compensate a little bit for that. Alright, let's take off and make a quick tour. This is obviously a large heavy helicopter, so the handling is not as sensitive as it is for an MH9 or the Blackfoot. You can compare it more to the Mi-48 that we have seen in the OPFOR Showcase. Also on this helicopter the landing gear will be tracked automatically. During this short flight I will try to keep an eye on those instruments and see what they're displaying, and I will also try to overpower especially the airspeed to check if the chopper takes damage from it or not. Attitude will be displayed in real time obviously, as well as vertical speed. As soon as I hit the throttle and push the nose down to accelerate, you see the torque going up, the RPM slightly moving. Obviously the vertical speed is changing, attitude as well, the airspeed is going up. So that seems to be working fine. This display over here, I haven't really checked what's on there and if it's like changing or if it's just an image. So eye candy. Kicking the airspeed now. The chopper goes extremely fast. I've been flying it before to test exactly those things. I pushed it about to 320 kilometers per hour or something. The instrument will display knots. I cannot really tell you how fast one knot is, you know how much kilometers or miles per hour, but yeah, as I said, I've pushed it pretty much to the limits and the chopper didn't take any damage. So I guess even though all those instruments are fully working here in this helicopter, you don't have to pay too much attention on them. Another thing I want to test right now again and show you here in this video is the whole taxiing with helicopters. You know, if you have a wheeled helicopter, in real life you can roll on the ground with them, but unfortunately in ARMA it's still not possible. As soon as you touch the ground you will not like stop immediately, but it will brake really hard, and if you're already on the ground you cannot like accelerate just a bit to roll, and if you hit the throttle really hard you will take off. So unfortunately that's still a feature that is missing in my opinion. Okay, so that's it for the more detailed look at the Green Army transport helicopter. Let's land this baby and continue with the showcase. Here we are. I really like the green camo pattern, the digital camo pattern here for pretty much all those Green Army vehicles. Unfortunately, the BLUFOR side has like the ugliest camouflage, or basically no camouflage. They're usually gray or green or even black, but I really love this digital camo. On the right side there you just saw the ATV for the Green Army, same model as for the other two factions but with the green digit camo. Let's move on to the ground troops. I'm not gonna show you each and every soldier because you basically get your main army or main Green Army soldiers. There is no recon class yet for this independent faction, but you do get some special categories like the divers and also a ghillie sniper team. So here, like the regular soldiers, special weapon, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. You see here with the grenade launcher attachment. This is a crew member, so basically for armored vehicles, tanks and all that. This is the pilot, a beige suit with a green digital camo helmet. This is the AA soldier, and I would like you to take a close look at the launcher because the AT launcher is kind of similar, but the missiles for him are not compatible, so you have to be aware of that. This is the diver wetsuit rebreather, but this one has like a green quality to it. And this is the sniper. No new heavy sniper rifle, is the same as the OPFOR uses. And yeah, the camo, the ghillie camo pattern is a bit different. OPFOR has more brown, BLUFOR has more green, and this is something in between. Let's have a look at the weapons. The one I'm carrying here is like the basic Green Army assault rifle. I'm a officer unit, so with the hat instead of a helmet. The rifle is called the MK20C, 5.56mm assault rifle, uses 30 round static mags. It has a top and side rails, so you can attach pretty much anything you want. Let's see what else is new. Okay, here the Green Army ammo box, MK20C commando version, MK20 with a longer barrel, like this basic assault rifle, and the MK20 with the UGL, so the underbarrel grenade launcher. Other than that, there's pretty much just a pistol that is new. I do like this one a lot. It kind of reminds me of an M1911, like the Colt version, although it's a 9mm with a 16 round mag. Let's fire some rounds. This assault rifle has a semi-auto and full auto firing mode. Pretty nice sound, quite some punch to it, and you can use all the attachments such as side scopes, silencers, IR laser or flashlight. Let's check out the pistol. Pretty nice. As I mentioned before, it reminds me a lot of the M1911 Colt, although as said before, this is a 9mm 16 round mag, another 45. I'm just checking out the special weapons box. Nothing new here. M320, the sniper rifle, that's also used by the BLUFOR side. The MK18 EBR, the marksman rifle, that is used by the OPFOR side. And then there's also the SDAR, the weapon that can be used on the water. Okay, let's move on to the launchers. The new launch for the green side is the Titan MPRL. This right here is the compact version for AT rounds, and then there's also the long version for AA rounds, the one that I've showed you before on this AA soldier. You have to be aware of that because the missile types are not compatible. You get the AA missiles, which are just compatible with the big launcher, the one for the AA soldier. You see, I cannot add it to the gear here, or I cannot load it. And then you get the AT missiles, which are compatible. One is AT, the other one is armor piercing. Don't ask me exactly what the difference is, because there gotta be both armor piercing rounds to be effective against armored vehicles, obviously. So let's try to shoot this thing. I'm not quite sure if it's gonna work for me, because in my difficulty settings I disable everything that is helping me with the gameplay, if you want to call it that. I have no crosshairs, no friendly or enemy like markers and shit, so sometimes I have problems with the standard launchers to lock onto vehicles because of that. The display does look pretty much as the one from the Javelin. On the top you see Seek, on the left side missile, CLU and all that. You can switch to thermal vision, and there's also a zoom. On the right side you get like the direct and the top firing mode. I have not figured out if it's possible to change that. Let's try to take out that APC. On the top you see seek, and as soon as I mark it, it's like seeking, and on the left side you get that missile display. It disappeared, so I'm just gonna try to take the shot, and apparently it did work. So the green seek light on top tells you that it's still seeking, and as soon as the orange missile symbol on the left side disappears, you're good to go. I can imagine though that if you have your crosshairs enabled, you will see like the square thing on the vehicle as soon as you mark it, and then like another square that will tell you if you're locked on or not. Personally, I hid all this unrealistic information on my HUD, that's why I disabled it. Moving on to the ground vehicles, this is the brand new Strider. I would call this a light armored recon vehicle, and you can compare it to the Hunter for the BLUFOR side as well as the F3 for the OPFOR side. You don't really see this here, but this thing is actually amphibious. I've tried it in my live stream and it does swim, so that's pretty nice. That's a feature that the Hunter and the F3 do not have. This is like the non-armed version, so if I'm in the back seat here, I got this display but I cannot use it. Although I can get it as commander, and this is basically the recon part, because over there I have like a camera turned or just an optics turned that I can use to recon. I can nicely use this from the 3D inside view, or I can also use like the optics view. I can look around, I get basic like range, azimuth, elevation information. And cool here is that I can actually laser targets. So left mouse click, laser designator on, so I can laser vehicles and whatnot for airstrikes or I don't know what. Also night vision and green thermal, extremely good to find my targets. What I just did was pop smoke. As a commander I can pop a smoke screen, or basically a smoke cloud, so it will conceal me from the enemies, and this way I can hopefully retreat before I get hit by some AT and whatnot. Just gonna hop in the driver's seat and show you how this Strider performs on the road. That was the wrong button. There you go. Unique here compared to the equivalent BLUFOR and OPFOR vehicle is that on the front there's just room for one. That has probably something to do with the fact that this vehicle is amphibious, so it's sort of like a boat shape. That could be the reason why there's only the driver at the front. This leads me to maybe the main negative point of the Strider. There is only room for 3 people in the entire vehicle, while the other factions' vehicles have at least 4. Okay, let's do some driving. Get out of this smoke cloud. Yeah, nothing fancy about driving here. I'm not gonna go in the water. The instruments do work here in this 3D cockpit. You get the rear view camera on the right side. Pretty neat. Still squeaking sounds on dirt. That's kind of weird. Still something that is probably gonna be fixed with a full release. It's pretty agile, so you can get rather quickly from one place to another. Let's check out the other 2 versions of the Strider. This right here is the 50 cal version. You get the commander seat with like this optical turn that we've seen before, and then the gunner seat for the 50 cal turn. I'm gonna check out the GMG version, so the 40mm grenade launcher. Just gonna hop in as gunner because the rest is exactly the same as on the non-armed version. Here again I can use the gun in the 3D view, not really effective though. Switch to the gun view, and then you can fire those grenades. You only have 200 rounds, so you gotta make them count. Optics mode can be changed to night vision as well as thermal, white hot, black hot. You can adjust zeroing, view zoom. That's about it. Moving on. The Green Army has the same logistics vehicle as the OPFOR side, so this Semek truck, but here obviously with the green digital camo. There's also the version with the tarp on top and the open version. Nothing fancy about that. The independent side support weapon is also an MK6 mortar, same model as for BLUFOR and OPFOR, but I guess the color is a bit different, so it's gotta be green. Coming to the last category, which are the boats. This right here is the speedboat, 40mm grenade launcher turned at the front, minigun at the back. Pretty fast and agile, that's why it's called a speedboat. And then you get your basic rovercraft for naval troop infiltration. I guess you know what I mean. Alright gents, this is it. This was the showcase of the Green Army, basically the new independent faction in the ARMA 3 beta. I do like this additional content and also the possibility of using another faction where you can actually choose if it's like friendly to BLUFOR or OPFOR, neither or both. Thanks a lot for watching this video. I hope you have checked out the BLUFOR Showcase and the OPFOR Showcase as well. Please leave a like here, leave a comment, head over to my channel and have a look at all the other ARMA 3 and also ARMA 2 content and even content about other games. If you like what you see, please hit subscribe so you'll be updated on all my future uploads. There will be a lot about the beta, I'm sure, and especially for the full game. I'm also active on Facebook, Twitter and Steam, and just starting this week on Twitch. So check out those pages as well, please. You can find links to them in the description below or also on my channel page. Thanks a lot for checking in. I'm Swiss Maverick. Catch you soon. Looks pretty sweet. We have a working multifunctional display. As soon as you turn on the engine, you will see those instruments displaying in real time, and you will get all the vital information you'll need for flying. As far as I can tell though, those instruments are more eye candy than really necessary. If you have flown in take-on helicopters, there it was really important to keep eyes on your instruments. But here, even though we got all this information, the chopper flies pretty much the same as it did in ARMA 2. So even if you overpower your engine or fly faster than the recommended airspeed, the chopper doesn't seem to be taking any damage from this. Track AR support is as it was in all the other choppers, but here you got a little bit of leaning. I do appreciate that because I use track AR, especially in the landing procedure when you pull the nose up a bit to brake. The dashboard will block your view, and by leaning to the side you can compensate a little bit for that. Alright, let's take off and make a quick tour. This is obviously a large heavy helicopter, so the handling is not as sensitive as it is for an MH9 or the Blackfoot. You can compare it more to the Mi-48 that we have seen in the OPFOR Showcase. Showcases for the BLUFOR and OPFOR side, I will also introduce you to the new vehicles, aircrafts, the new infantry units, weapons, and then that's about it. Starting off with the CH-49 Mohawk. This is the basic transport chopper and so far the only chopper available for the Green Army. I'd say it's the exact same model as the Merlin in ARMA 2, the one that came with the BAF expansion. Doesn't really matter, I liked it back then and I still like it now. A lot of room in the back for troop transport, so probably the easiest way to bring an entire platoon from one side of the island to the other. Nicely animated 3D cockpit. Yo lads, Swiss Maverick is back with episode 3, this time the Green Army Showcase, so the independent side, brand new faction in ARMA 3 beta. As in the previous two, also on this helicopter the landing gear will retract automatically. During this short flight I will try to keep an eye on those instruments and see what they're displaying, and I will also try to overpower especially the airspeed to check if the chopper takes damage from it or not. Attitude will be displayed in real time obviously, as well as vertical speed. As soon as I hit